I think you got to be careful. I mean, at some point you need a farm system. It feels like deja vu. We've had these chats with the Leafs
100%.
where you have been a big proponent of all in every single year.
And I stand by that.
I think you were wrong in retrospect.
I was right.
No, you weren't.
They didn't do enough, and they're
not wired.
Anywhere.
It doesn't matter who you acquired. If Austin Matthews and Mitch Marner can't get it done in the biggest moments, it doesn't matter who you pick up.
I can't have this.
They're not wired properly.
All right.
How do you look back on the Marner exit now that you know what you know?
Well, I stand by 2 years ago when I thought they should have traded him. I stand by last summer when I thought they should have traded him. Like, it was.
What about his
I wrote about this at the time. Like, it was like after last season, not this past season. I wrote my something at the end where you could see the entire season something isn't right. He doesn't look happy here, and they didn't do anything, and it's like.
Yeah, but he was going to stop it anyway.
How do you know?
Because I think it became very clear that he blocked the Rantanen deal.
Yeah, but that was because it was in the middle of the season. He's a pregnant wife at home. Like, you were putting.
I understand that. You're not wrong.
If you had forced a.
He was going to Vegas and only Vegas.
Maybe.
I don't think there's any questioning that.
But let me ask you this: if you go back to last summer and you force, and like I remember writing this, thinking this, talking to people about this, if you had forced a confrontation and said, you know what, this is not working. We need 5 teams. And then, like, maybe you can figure something out. Maybe those teams don't give you anything you want. I don't know, but it's not like Nicholas Waugh is like a great consolation prize.
No,
like, he's fine. Like, he helps.
they were in a bind.
But if you had forced something last summer, maybe history plays out differently. I have no idea. Like, who knows? But they didn't. They thought the downside, I guess, was not worth it. Like, they figured, like, if we go to those teams, we have a list of teams, and they don't give us anything, and then, like, we've already asked them for the teams, and now we're not going to like. But by not kind of kicking the hornet's nest, like, the hornet just kind of hung around and then stung them in the end. And anyway, so it's like, you know what I mean?
Yeah, I am curious. I'd love to get an answer on what Shanahan and Treliving actually knew this time last year. Like, did they know he was out? Because now you're hearing stories. I don't know how true they are, but everyone's known. Everyone knew Marner was going to Vegas. Like, if they knew that, then that is significant malpractice. If they knew this guy is out of here and you let him play it out without making him uncomfortable.
Should have known. If I could see that he was out, how did they not? And honestly, I actually think they did see it.
Oh, they knew. I'm
they
sure
knew all
They're
this.
not
Like,
stupid.
they knew it wasn't working. He wasn't happy here, and like they. But it's like it's 2 years ago. It's 2023, and
but isn't it something about Marner too that if you're so unhappy, why don't you go and ask for a change? Why is it on the Leafs to force
because
your
maybe
way
you
out?
just decided I'm going to play it out, and then I'm just going to choose where I want to go, and I'm not going to be forced into anything. I'm not going to.
Which is what he ultimately
did.
did.
To play here, and like maybe at that point he's not sure. Like maybe he's like, maybe it looks to me as someone like who is there with the team every day, but like not behind the scenes. I see them an hour a day. Mm-hmm. Maybe part of him is like 40% of him is like, you know what? Maybe it can still work here. Maybe we can have a great playoff run. I can be awesome. Things change, the narrative changed, and I decide to stay and I decide to sign. But like if it's like 60%, it doesn't look like he's going to stay. You got to do something. Like,
yeah.
But it's the whole. I don't know how we got to Leafs at 419.
Well, I got something that I'll get to this a little bit later on. What I think the league should do with his return, but I remember when we were discussing it, like the exit even prior to July 1st, and he was being compared to Vince Carter, and I'm like, well, wait a minute. He didn't quit on this team. He didn't demand out.
He didn't. That's not fair.
He didn't quit. He didn't demand out. But I think there is a very, very good chance mentally he was gone. And perception is reality. So if you're dealing with the mob and the way people are going to feel about you, because I was making arguments. I'm like, eventually dust settles. Bygones will be bygones. He'll probably retire his jersey in 20 years. I don't know anymore because of the way this is being reported now on the way out. You know, with like when he was in Vegas, he's like, at the Four Nations, we were talking about living in Vegas, and my wife was asking what it's like there. So you were in Vegas in February, you were gone? You were mentally gone. And is there a chance that maybe they could have brokered a deal last year and Vegas and Marner were like, why would we give up a real piece? Just wait a year. We'll catch you down the road.
Not impossible.
And then whose interest is he putting first? The Leafs or the Golden Knights? If there's any reality in that, he was putting the Golden Knights. as his priority over the Maple Leafs because, to your point, he was already out, already not happy with everything. And, do I
don't
think there's a chance he was vindictive enough to say, I'm playing this out and leaving to leave you guys in my dust? I don't think it's a 0% chance he thought that way.
That's inconceivable. And honestly,
Exactly.
Okay,
go ahead. Go ahead. But what you're going to deal with is your hometown is going to continue to look at you through a more and more negative lens, which he may not care about, but it's a reality. Toronto's still here. He's in Vegas, but the Leafs and Leaf fans in Toronto still here.
But let me ask you this. What did he do wrong?
Well,
like in
his
whole
performances, let's begin there.
For sure is like the playoff performance.
But isn't that the most important thing?
That's it. But in terms of why is he going? He's going to be a villain here. Like, there's no doubt. But why? Like, what did he do that was wrong? Like,
well, the contract negotiation clearly. I mean, we don't have to dig up the whole thing. There's this.
But you don't have to negotiate a contract. Like, he was under no obligation to negotiate a contract.
Right.
Why?
But you're talking about fans here, and again, you're talking about why they would feel the way they would feel. There's two separate conversations because I've had this argument before with Johnny and even Owen, those guys. Players, it's their life, it's their business. Like, I'm not naive enough to say that, you got to, like, I get it. I totally understand why they're like, this is my life. I want to get money. I want to get paid. I'm offering up a service. Like, I understand that. But if that's your stance, this is like you're asking what the fans are thinking, trying to justify where they're at. They don't think of it as a business. It is a fantasy for them.
Fair.
It is a large. You're living out the dream of millions and millions and millions of people in Toronto and fans throughout the world who are not going to look at it through that objective lens. They're going to look at it emotionally. And I think a lot of Leaf fans looked at it and said, "You're a local guy. You should know better." And I think whether it was true or not, again, perception becomes reality. The perception was never with Mitch. He said he loved being a Leaf, but he didn't act that way. Like, he didn't. You
don't think so?
Well, I mean, the negotiation's a perfect example, Jonas. Do you know how easy it would have been for him to pull up Matthew Nyes? Look what Nyes did. That kid grew up in Arizona. He's like, I want this done before July 1st. Let's get it done. Let's get something fair. And I just want to be a Leaf. How is it different?
That's the original sin. But that's a significant 2019. One. He's 22, I think, 23 at that point.
It's still his.
Sure, yeah. I mean, Nyes,
his legacy. Matthew Nyes, a kid from Arizona, said, I want to be a Leaf. Let's get it done.
Yeah.
The kid from Toronto said, I'm not showing up until you pay me exactly what I demand.
Fair.
That's not like, if you're asking for fans are going to say, wait a minute, are you serious, dude? Like, what are you doing here? I thought you were a Leaf fan.
Yeah.
But you'd know better. Look how good you guys are. You got a chance to win here.
Yeah.
So that's how it starts. Then you tag on playoff performances that were simply abysmal in the biggest moments. Not alone.
Yep.
I always have to qualify that. Not only him. I get it. There's other guys. But we're talking about Mitch, and he's the one that's left. That's how you deal with what you're dealing with now.
Yeah.
It's not hard to figure out.
No,
it's not.